consciousness are also like this. Shari Buddha, all dharmas are marked by emptiness. They neither arise nor cease, are neither keep well nor cure, neither increase nor decrease. Therefore, given emptiness, there are no forms, sensations, perceptions, formations, or consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind. No sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight, and so forth down to no realm of mind consciousness. There is neither ignorance nor extinction of ignorance, and so forth down to neither old age and death nor extinction of old age and death. No suffering, no causation, station, no path, no knowledge, and no attainment, with nothing to obtain. A bodhisattva relies on prajnaparamita, and asta mind is without ignorance. Without ignorance, there is no fear. Far beyond all inverted views, what realizes nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future rely on prajnaparamita, and thereby attain unsurpassed perfect enlightenment. Therefore, know that prajnaparamita as a great miraculous mantra, great mantra, the supreme mantra, the incomparable mantra, which removes all suffering and is true, not false. Therefore, we proclaim the prajnaparamita mantra, the mantra that says Gate, Gate, Param, Gate, Parsam, Gate, Bodhisattva.
This is wisdom water. As I put it on their newly shaped heads, I'm imparting upon them the Buddha, the wisdom of the Buddha. And may all the temple have the wisdom. Everyone in Gasho. Homage to the Dharma in the 10 directions. Homage to the Sangha in the 10 directions. Homage to the great teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Homage to the successive ancestors and bodhisattvas. Homage to great teacher Eihei Dogen. Homage to the founder of our lineage Jikai Dining. May they all be here as witnesses. May they all be here as witnesses. May they all be here as witnesses. We will all chant together. Homage to the boundless Dharmakaya Vajrayana Buddha, the
complete Sambhogakaya Vyachana Buddha, the manifest Nirmanakaya Shakyamuni Buddha,
the
future Maitreya Buddha, all Buddhas, past, present, and future in 10 directions, the Mahayana Sadharma Buddha Sutra, the great Manjushri Bodhisattva, the Mahayana Sambhadara Bodhisattva, the great compassionate Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, the many bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, the Mahaprajna Paramita.
Now I'm afraid you're going to have to listen to me lather on for a few pages. I tried to cut it out, and there was nothing here I felt I could cut out. So please listen and enjoy. Here are Brian, Shinkyu, and Aaron Sonshin, who have come to be ordained as monks, whose religion is kindness, and who vow here is service. Listen calmly and attentively. This ordination ceremony is being held today as a result of maturing of time and situation. Brian, Shinkyu, Aaron, Sonshin, your friends and family have brought you to this juncture in your life. You have acquired this opportunity to receive the teachings transmitted from the Buddha Shakyamuni, and through successive ancestors to myself. I hope you will manifest the way of these venerable ancestors forever. They cannot help but have respect for you when you earnestly desire that all sentient beings live peacefully in this world and the earth itself. It is rare indeed for the cosmic forces to come together, for a human life to be created in this world. We cannot close our eyes to the swiftness of life. We should therefore deeply appreciate and be grateful for the magnitude and marvelous nature of each moment of our present existence. Rare indeed is this opportunity. Moment after moment, endeavor to live a life which enlightenment, which transcends greed, anger, and self-delusion. Consider deeply the circumstances that have made this opportunity possible and the innumerable blessings you have received. The great benevolence bestowed upon you by your family and friends is higher than any mountain and deeper than any ocean. It is my sincerest wish that you return at least a small portion of this kindness and express a life of gratitude for all of those who have created so much of you. Good disciples of the Buddha, the source of the heart mind is serenity. The depth of the Dharma ocean is unfathomable. Not to realize this is to sink into the sea of perpetual wondering. To see if it is to see this is to be immediately liberated. To play freely within the absolute liberation is a way of the home lever. This is a ritual performed simultaneously with all Buddha. It is a touchstone for immediately and instantaneous liberation. How true this is, do not doubt it. For there is no other way, the body and mind, to merge within the Buddha way. To cut off one's hair is to cut off one's root of attachment. To cut off even slightly the root of emotional attachment is to reveal the original nature of oneself. To change one's usual clothes and take on the Buddhist robes is to be free from delusion. To be free from delusion is to be free from present as it isness. None of the Buddhas in the triple world have accomplished the Buddha way without being detached from the ways of the world. All the successive ancestors, without exception, lived the life of the home lever. Therefore, the merit of being a monk is beyond all other kinds of merit. Even the eradication of the 7-jeweled stupa on Mount Suramayu, reaching into the 33 heavens and endowed with the greatest merit, cannot be compared the worth of 100th part of the merit of the home leaver. This merit of the home leaver cannot be measured by calculation of or parables. The treasured stupa can be broken to pieces and dissipated forever, but the home leaver increasingly matures and ripens the fruit of the Buddha. The merit of this home leaver is never lost, not even for countless eons. Hence, one can go far beyond the realms of ordinary attachment. Even though the fruit of enlightenment is not yet ripe, one is truly a child of the Buddha. The revered person among all beings is gifted the most excellent life. Consider, one can now turn one's perpetually wandering body and mind and enter the Buddha land from the conditions of samsara. Original virtue is immediately accomplished when beginningless delusions are ended. Therefore, after becoming a home leaver, one's life scale is so huge and vast that even heaven and earth cannot carry it. Yet, it is not the din and bustle of all kinds of beings. Yet, is it not the din and bustle of all kinds of beings? Nothing covers perfection of the shaved head. The Buddha robes are a banner of absolute liberation. All seers and hearers share in this enormous benefit. Relatives acquire excellent fruits without fail. The way of the home leaver is beyond the triple world. The excellent quality rises high in the 10 directions. Even the leaders of nations are no match for the home leaver. Even their parents are less honored. No one but the venerable teacher is revered by making ostations to the ground. No one but the Buddha and ancestors pay homage to her. Why? Let us chant as follows. With all the karmic life, past, present, and future, the bonds of attachment are hard to break, leaving them behind to enter the truth. Truly, this shows our gratitude. You should heartily admire your parents' virtue in giving birth to you. You should express gratitude to all your teachers and leaders of the nations and nature itself in accordance with the laws of being. This is a presently realized home leaver and an excellent sign of the revered and virtuous ones. At this point, traditionally, we would completely shave their heads. They come with long hair, but because, especially hair like Sonshin's, that would be a good 45 minutes. They did most of the head shaving of their own. So let us all chant together. First, I'm going to say something, then we'll chant together. Great, steadfast disciples of the Buddha, realizing the transcendency of this world, leaving the worldliness for nirvana. It is rare and incomprehensible. With the karmic life, past, present, and future, the bonds of attachment are hard to break.
Leaving them behind is to enter the truth. Truly, this shows our gratitude.
This world of birth and death, we realize the impermeable way-seeking mind. Bodhi is right at hand. This very beginner's mind, Bodhisattva knows, we know as immeasurable, deep, and wide. Even a Buddha cannot define it. Now I'm going to present their garment, the koroma, which is the large black outer garment. Shinkyu, will you come forward? Sonshin. You may put on your corona now. Oh, shit, it's going straight from the inside. Illustrations and stay immediately. This last hair is called the Shura. Only a Buddha can cut it off. Will you allow me to cut it off?
Yes, I do.
This last hair is called the Shura. Only a Buddha can cut it off. Will you allow me to cut it off?
Yes, I do.
This last hair is called the Shura. Only a Buddha can cut it off. Will you allow me to cut it off?
Yes, I do.
And you guys can say, wow, I'm glad we're not doing that with the head. reforming your habit, retaining your will and moderation, cutting off your emotional attachment, retiring from seeking favor, becoming a home leaver is to seek the holy path and vow to save all beings. Reforming your habit, retaining and will and moderation, cutting off the emotional attachment, retiring from seeking favor to become a home leaver and seek the holy path to vow and save all beings. Reforming your habit, retaining will and moderation, cutting off your emotional attachment, retiring from seeking favor to become the home leaver to seek the holy path and vow to save all beings. When Sonshin and Shinkyu took their precepts, they got one name. Now they're given a second name. I'll talk about it later. Shinkyu, your full priest name is Hiroju. Shinkyu, your full priest name is Sohando Shinkyu. Sonshin, your full priest name is Hiraju Sonshin. Next, they are going to get the zagu. This is a bowing mat that they will put down on the floor whenever they bow to protect their kesa. Part of their vows is to take care of their priest clothes, and this is one of the things to do. And as you can see, I'm offering it 3 times to him and Shinkyu and Sonshin. And I offer the zagu 3 times, and each time they'll say no. And that does a lot of times because it's like they're saying, I'm not worthy of this. And anytime you ask 3 times, I offer it 3 times, they have to take it. So they are taking their Buddhist clothes under duress. Chant 3 times.
May all bodhisattvas, mahasattvas bow with me. I, Sonshin, a disciple of the Buddha, received this Nishandana, sitting cloth made according to the Buddha's way. I will use it and keep it for protecting the Okesa. May all bodhisattvas, mahasattvas vow with me. I, Sonshin, a disciple of the Buddha, Receive the Nishandana sitting cloth made according to the Buddha's way. I will use it and keep it for protecting the Okesa. May all bodhisattvas, mahasattvas bow with me. I, Sonshin, a disciple of the Buddha, receive the Nishandana sitting cloth made according to the Buddha's way. I will use it and keep it for protecting the Okesa.
And let us all chant the verse of the Zagu together.
Great Nishindana sitting cloth, used by all Buddhas and ancestors. I vow to sit on it, all beings. Nishandana sitting cloth, used by all Buddhas and ancestors. I vow to sit on it with all beings. Great Nishindana sitting cloth, used by all Buddhas and ancestors. I vow to sit on it with all beings. Great.
Next, I'm going to present them the Okesa. In ancient times, when home leaving, people became monks, they shaved their heads, and they only carried with them 3 robes and a bowl. In our world, we do let them have other clothes besides their robes, but this is their main robe that they will wear. As whenever they put it on, they will remember their vows.
May all bodhisattvas, mahasattvas bow with me. I, Sonshin, a disciple of the Buddha, receive this Uttara Sangha robe made of 7 strips, each with 2 long pieces and 1 short piece. I will wear it and keep the sacred meaning of it. May all bodhisattvas, mahasattvas bow with me. I, Sonshin, a disciple of the Buddha, receive this Uttara Sangha robe, made of 7 strips, each with 2 long pieces and 1 short piece. I will wear it and keep the sacred meaning of it. May all bodhisattvas, mahasattvas bow with me. I, Sonshin, a disciple of the Buddha, receive this Uttara Sangha robe, made of 7 stripes, each with 2 long pieces and 1 short piece. I will wear it and keep the sacred meaning of it.
Every time we put on our robes, be it the large kesa or the small rakasus we wear, we say the robe verse. I believe you call it the compassion verse. So let us all chant together. Great robe of liberation, virtuous filled form on form and merit, wearing the Tathagata's teaching, we vow to save all beings. Great robe of liberation, virtuous filled far beyond all form and merit, wearing the Tathagata's teachings, we vow to save all beings. Great robe of liberation, virtuous filled far beyond form and merit, wearing the Tathagata's teaching, we vow to save all beings. This is a rather complicated garment, and this is their first time putting it on by themselves. So and it's especially hard with the Soto coronal sleeve. Sonshin. Oh my, no, it's this. I don't know what we're doing next. I know how to put it on. But I don't know how to put it on. Three frustrations. Next, they'll have the Buddhas, and these are officially the Buddha's begging bowls. In our society, I do not send my monks out to stand on the corner with their bowl hoping for food. But in a monastic setting, they will eat out of their bowls. They are responsible for cleaning it after every meal, putting it away, and keeping it ready for the next meal. Oryoki is a word that means just enough. A very beautiful ritualized way of eating, and you love your bowls. And they will use these bowls for the rest of their lives.
May all bodhisattvas, mahasattvas vow with me. I, Sonshin, a disciple of the Buddha, receive this oryoki made according to the Buddha's way. I will use it and keep the sacred meaning of it. May all bodhisattvas, mahasattvas vow with me. I, Sonshin, a disciple of the Buddha, receive this oryoki made according to the Buddha's way. I will use it and keep the sacred meaning of it. May all bodhisattvas, mahasattvas vow with me. I, Sonshin, a disciple of the Buddha, receive this oryoki made according to the Buddha's way. I will use it and keep the sacred meaning of it.
Great. I'm sorry, do you have the oryoki verse in your program? Okay. Sorry. Because I thought it was in there, but it says just on. Anyway. If it's in there, please chant with me. Great Buddha's oryoki, maintaining perfection of all merits, receiving it with respect,
I teach all beings one after another.
Just say this. That was the first half of our ceremony. And I will say that was all the earthly components of the ceremony. The next part is what this ceremony is really all about. And I am changing my kesa around the other way because all of us mere humans, we have our right shoulder exposed. The Buddha has our left shoulder exposed. And so at this point, I am a stand-in for the Buddha because we are going to offer the precepts. And, the robes, everything, that's all fun and games. But the real idea of becoming a Buddha, a Buddhist priest, and everything is taking these vows, these very solemn vows. If you want to take refuge in the triple treasure, first of all, You must make repentance before the Buddha. The way of repentance has been practiced by Buddhas and ancestors and transmitted until it comes to us. All karmic hindrances are melted away by the power of repentance. Please repeat after me. And everyone can repeat, please. All the karma ever created by me,
All the karma ever created by me,
sense of old through greed, anger, and self-delusion,
sense of old through greed, anger, and self-delusion,
which has no beginning, born of body, speech, and thought,
which has no beginning, born of body, speech, and thought.
I now make full open confession of it.
I now make full open confession of it.
All the karma ever created by me,
All the karma ever created by me,
sense of old through greed, anger, and self-delusion,
sense of old through greed, anger, and self-delusion,
which has no beginning, born of body, speech, and mind, and thought,
which has no beginning, born of my body, speech, and the thought.
now I make full open confession of it.
I now make full open confession of it.
All the karma ever created by me,
All the karma ever created by me,
sense of old through greed, anger, and self-delusion,
sense of old through greed, anger, and self-delusion,
which has no beginning, born of body, speech, and thought,
which has no beginning, born of my body, speech, and thought.
I'll make full open confession of it.
I now make full open confession of it.
Purifying all the karma of body, speech, and thought, we have completely attained great purity, due to the power of repentance. They need even more wisdom to take these vows. Could everyone please repeat after me? I'm sorry, lost it. Next, you should take refuge in the triple treasures. There are three merits for the triple treasure: the unity of triple treasure, the presently manifest triple treasure, and the maintenance of triple treasure. When you take refuge of all three merits, when you take refuge in these, all three merits are perfectly accomplished. From generation to generation, all Buddhas and ancestors have deeply respected and transmitted the triple treasures, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. As a disciple of the Buddha, Sonshin, and Shinkyu, from now and even after acquiring Buddhahood, will you take refuge in the triple treasures?
Yes, I will.
From generation to generation, all Buddhas and ancestors have deeply respected and transmitted the triple treasures, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. As a disciple of the Buddha, Sonshin and Shinkyu, from now and even after acquiring Buddhahood, will you take refuge in the triple treasures?
Yes, I will.
From generation to generation, all Buddhas and ancestors have deeply respected and transmitted the triple treasures, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. As a disciple of the Buddha, Sonshin and Shinkyu, from now on, even after acquiring Buddhahood, will you take refuge in the triple treasures?
Yes, I will.
Repeat after me. Me too. I take refuge in Buddha.
I take refuge in Buddha.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge as a perfect in Buddha as a perfect teacher.
I take refuge in Buddha as the perfect teacher.
I take refuge in Dharma as a complete teaching.
I take refuge in the Dharma as the complete teaching.
I take refuge in Sangha as a perfect life.
I take refuge in Sangha as the perfect life.
I have completely taken refuge in the Buddha.
I have completely taken refuge in the Buddha.
I have completely taken refuge in the Dharma.
I have completely taken refuge in the Dharma.
I have completely taken refuge in the Sangha.
I have completely taken refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge in Buddha.
I take refuge in Buddha.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in Dharma.
I take refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge in Buddha as a perfect teacher.
I take refuge in the Buddha as the perfect teacher.
I take refuge in the Dharma as a complete teaching.
I take refuge in the Dharma as the complete teaching.
I take refuge in the Sangha as perfect life.
I take refuge in the Sangha as the perfect life.
I have completely taken refuge in the Buddha.
I have completely taken refuge in the Buddha.
I have completely taken refuge in the Dharma.
I have completely taken refuge in the Dharma.
I have completely taken refuge in the Sangha.
I have completely taken refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take refuge in the Buddha.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Dharma.
I take refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge in the Sangha.
I take refuge in the Buddha as a perfect teacher.
I take refuge in the Buddha as the perfect teacher.
I take refuge in the Dharma as a complete teaching.
I take refuge in the Dharma as the complete teaching.
I take refuge in the Sangha as a perfect life.
I take refuge in the Sangha as the perfect life.
I have completely taken refuge in the Buddha.
I have completely taken refuge in the Buddha.
I have completely taken refuge in the Dharma.
I have completely taken refuge in the Dharma.
I have completely taken refuge in the Sangha.
I have completely taken refuge in the Sangha.
Thus have you have realized the original nature of freedom from evil thoughts. The Supreme Enlightened One, whose wisdom is omnipresent, is your teacher. From now on, taking the path of the Buddha, do not be involved with wrong practices. May all Buddhas be with us in great compassion. My back is causing me to stand up, so I'm just standing up for my back. Thus you have received the triple treasures. Now you receive the 3 collective pure precepts and the 10 grave prohibitory precepts, and you will be seated with the Buddha. Next, you will receive the 3 collective pure precepts. With purity of heart, I vow to abstain from the unwholesome.
With purity of heart, I vow to abstain from the unwholesome.
From now on, even after acquiring Buddhahood, will you continuously observe it?
Yes, I will.
With purity of heart, I vow to do the wholesome.
With purity of heart, I vow to do the wholesome.
From now on, even after acquiring Buddhahood, will you continuously observe it?
Yes, I will.
With purity of heart, I vow to benefit all beings.
With purity of heart, I vow to benefit all beings.
From now on, even after acquiring Buddhahood, will you continuously observe it?
Yes, I will.
I have bestowed the 3 collective pure precepts on you. From now on, even after acquiring Buddhahood, will you continuously observe them?
Yes, I will.
I have bestowed the 3 collective precepts, pure precepts, upon you. From now on, even after acquiring Buddhahood, will you continuously observe them?
Yes, I will.
I have bestowed the 3 collective pure precepts on you. From now on, even after acquiring Buddhahood, will you continuously observe them?
Yes, I will.
Next, you will receive the 10 grave prohibitory precepts. Repeat after me. A disciple of the Buddha abstains from willfully taking life.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from willful taking of life.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from stealing.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from stealing.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from indulging in sexual greed.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from indulging in sexual greed.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from telling lies.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from telling lies.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from indulging in harmful intoxicants.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from indulging in harmful intoxicants.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from speaking ill of others.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from speaking ill of others.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from extolling the self while slandering others.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from extolling the self while slandering others.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from deep greed in the bestowal of teachings and materials.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from deep greed, bestowing of materials.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from the harboring of hatred, malice, or ill will.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from the harboring of hatred, malice, or ill will.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from denouncing the triple treasure.
A disciple of the Buddha abstains from denouncing the triple treasures.
These are the great 10 precepts. From now on, even after acquiring Buddhahood, will you continuously observe them?
Yes, I will.
These are the 10 great precepts. From now on, even after obtaining Buddhahood, will you continuously observe them?
Yes, I will.
These are the 10 great precepts. From now on, even after obtaining Buddhahood, will you continuously observe them?
Yes, I will.
Altogether, these are the 16 Bodhisattva precepts. Please continue your aspiration through your life and observe these precepts. Soto Zen is transmitted heart to heart, person to person. There's no way you can study yourself into priesthood. You have to have a teacher that will say, you are now a priest. Part of our tradition, we have lineage papers. They have copied all of our ancestors, from Buddha to my teacher Edo to me, and now they are part of this ancestor. They will soon be the ancestors of old. With that comes their papers that they have worked very hard to create. They're beautiful works of art, both of these. So. Receiving Buddhist precepts, you are already seated with all the Buddhas and ancestors. You are truly a child of Buddha. Receiving Buddhist precepts, you are already seated with all the Buddhas and ancestors. You are truly a child of Buddha. Receiving Buddha's precepts, you are already seated with all the Buddhas and ancestors. You are truly a child of Buddha. Thank you all for being here on this auspicious day for Shinkyu and Sonshin, and also for the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple. You, as a temple, will now have 2 new priests. They have been teachers for a couple years now, but now they're Soto Zen Buddhist priests. I'm not sure which of these 2 were the first to come to my little zendo in my basement in Grand Rapids, but I kind of remember they come around at the same time. I was informed that Sonshin was first. I don't remember. Oh, you agree. Okay. Sonshin was first. But they've both been around for a long time. At some point, I asked Sonshin if he wanted to be a priest. I don't remember exactly his answer, but it was like, I'm not going to mess up a good thing. That's what I heard. I have no idea what really came out of his mouth. I referred Shinkyu to a few places to give talks, Dharma talks, and he seemed to enjoy it. He seemed to enjoy being a Zen teacher. When I left Grand Rapids, they both became Zen teachers, lay teachers, to kind of take over my Just Sit Zendo. That gave them the ability to be teachers, but they're not priests. And today is not much more when you really look at what they are on paper, but in their hearts, in their minds, it's a huge difference. This is a great step that they're taking today. Hope you all rejoice in it with them. Shinkyu, you have the name Sun Ho Do Shinkyu. In our tradition, your precept name Shinkyu, it's a name I gave you, and it means exact study. And when I gave you your precept name, it was something I saw that you needed to work on. You may need to pay attention to. And I saw that he was studying. It's like, you need to be exact study. Don't go off studying willy-nilly. I feel he has lived up to that. So his priest name, which is a name that you will never call him that. You will never call either of them by their priest name. It's only used in very formal occasions. And after you die and your ancestors chant your name, you'll be Ho Do Shinkyu Dio Sho. And you'll be that way forever. Remembered as part of the ancestors. Your name will be on both of your names will be on the lineage paper. Blah, blah, blah. I see you as living up to Shinkyu very well. The priest name is where I see they are now and where I see them as a teacher. I'm going to have to read this because I don't remember everything. Your ordination named Sun, which is true. Shin, which is true. But your son, your priest named Sun, is a different type of true. It still basically means true, but it's straightforward truth. This is truth with a capital T. I'm truth. Not I'm, but, truth with a capital T. Son, your first priest name. Han, which means original and real. Do means way. The true original way. And if you talk to Shinkyu often, have you ever heard him say, well, let's go back to the Pali. Let's go back to Sanskrit. Let's go back to the Buddha. It goes back to that true original way. My teacher once told me the benefit of going to Japan is you get to taste the root of our practice. You will study the root of your practice no matter where. And I personally see you getting a lot out of Japan. You would go. Dogen talks about the acupuncture point. That's where you go with your practice. And you're finding a way through the present and future through the past. Sonshin. You have the precept name Sun, which means think, and Shin, which means heart and mind. At the time I gave you that, I thought, you need to find a way to think with both your heart and mind at the same time. Somewhere in the last 5-6 years, I feel like you found that point. Heart and mind, I don't think, are separate in Sonshin anymore. They have really found that the true meaning of Shin. Heart, mind, it's here. You speak from your heart and mind very well. So the name I gave you for your priest name, I'm just jabbering on that word. It's a word I lost. Your priest name, Hiraiju. It's supposed to be flat. I can't do a flat. So Hiraiju, that's how I'm pronouncing it. You can do it better. He is balance, peaceful and calm. Rai is thunder and storms, whoosh. And Ju, tender and soft. Somewhere in the past few years, you have found this wonderful balance of your heart, your mind, pull and whoosh, putting together. And you have become Sonshin. Balanced. I'll read what I wrote. You have found the great peaceful balance through storms and tenderness. Or else you're just faking it very well.
Sometimes.
The two of you are very different. And you are in a very non-Soto temple. There will be conflict between the two of you, between the temple and you. And remember, the power of Zazen and the power of Dharma will take you through everything. One of my lessons lately has been, that I'm trying to pass on, find the good, bad, and neutral in everything. I feel like I've been doing that very well. So I go to Shasta Abbey and talk to one of the senior teachers. Oh yeah, I'm looking for the good, bad, and neutral. Reverend Master Cote, in back. When a Zen teacher does this, you know you're about to get a good teaching. She said, what if you drop the good, bad, and neutral and just be? Oh, can't do that yet. But that's my new where I'm going. And I hope as you two find your life here as teachers, you see the good, bad, and neutral, but you also see we are just Sangha. We are just Dharma. We are just Buddha. Go back to the triple treasures, because that's where it all is. Go back to your precepts. The Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple, I feel, I'm not taking part in you, I'm talking to you and everybody else. Very lucky to have these two priests in their midst. You are very lucky to have this wonderful Sangha. All I ask is you take care of each other. It is my heartfelt desire, I'm going back to what Soto Zen tells me to say. It is my heartfelt desire that you ever be mindful of these precepts and moment after moment, keep them in your everyday life. Due to the ripening of this great opportunity, your body now rests in the Dharma world. You should realize the whole world is involved in the practice of these precepts. In this world of emptiness, may we exist in muddy water with purity like a lotus. Nothing surpasses the boundless mind. Now we bow to Buddha. And now I get to just be plain old Sushi again. Done pretending like I'm a Buddha. On this occasion, auspicious signs appear in all directions. The earth trembles and blossoms fall from the sky. All bodhisattvas ask the Buddhas, "What is the meaning of such extraordinary signs?" The Buddha replied, "In this world, a disciple of the Buddha's teaching has received the bodhisattva's precept and has been ordained as a monk. Therefore, the universe manifests itself in such joyous omen."
All Buddhas throughout space and time, all venerable ones, bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Maha Prajna Paramita.
Everybody come to the with us.